This is Hyphenated, an audio documentary series about immigrant and second-generation immigrants throughout Europe, navigating their hyphenated identity through their music. My name is Ron Deutsch. The following conversation took place in Bremen, Germany in April 2025 at the Radio Bremen Mobile Studio during the Jazz Ahead Trade Fair and Festival. It has been edited for clarity and length. Music in this episode is provided by today's artist, Matute.
So hello, my name is Matute. I come from Switzerland and I grew up in Geneva and in Delémont, small city in the Jura. Both of my parents are not from Switzerland. My father is from Honduras, from Tegucigalpa, and my mother is from Stuttgart, Germany. I grew up basically in Switzerland with the Swiss culture, and when I was a child, my father didn't really talk to me in Spanish, and neither did my mother in German. I think from the side of my father it was because he wanted really to integrate himself in the society. And well, at first he didn't really pass on us his culture. It came later, strongly, but later. And my mother, she didn't speak to us in German because her mom died when I was born, so it was hard for her to speak to us in German. So yeah, I grew up as a Swiss guy, wondering how does it look like from the other side of the ocean. And now I'm trying to find out all these things and figure out the story of my family. Growing up as a Swiss child, Swiss people were really not, when you're young, really proud of being Swiss. It's not something that you tell to other people. When I was a child, I was only with children that were immigrated or their parents were immigrated. So I was always telling okay, I have Honduran roots. So I was proud to say that I was half Honduran. And yes, so I kind of, I was seeing myself as an Honduran, even though I wasn't understanding it in a way. I'm on a journey to find which part of Honduran is God in me. Yeah. So I think I really started to question myself, I would say 2 or 3 years ago. But was always in the background because I was always composing music that has influences from South America, and I didn't really know why. So I did my first album, then my second, then my third, and after the third I was it's full of sounds of this area of the world. So why am I carrying that? Yeah, grew up listening to some great musicians from South America and Central America, but I'm not a specialist of history of this music. But I think I always felt a kind of nostalgia, melancholy and sadness from my father's side. My father is a lovely father, we have a beautiful connection, but I always felt that he has a bit of a sadness in the heart. It's hard for him to manage some questions on an emotional level, and I always tried to figure out why. And I think it's a lot connected with what he went through as a child. So I think I feel and I felt his sadness through the history of his family and the history of Honduras in general. So this kind of melancholic feeling, taste, I carry it on my music. And as a composer, I like to keep this kind of, naivete. Because when you're too much aware of things as styles, when you start to compose, then it can stop you. So when I was hearing all this music as a child, for me it was not a style or a genre, it was just songs that was popping in my head. And so when I'm composing, I have all these songs in my head and they all are mixing up with each other. And yeah, it's so funny because like music is kind of a it's really like it's a therapy and it's really like a, how do you say, a journal intime. It's like a diary, you know. My father, he has the capacity or ability to hide his feelings, and when it comes to talk about those feelings or those hard situations or those hard experiences, it can be like related to the story of his family, of his country, or the story with his children or my mother or stuff. It's really hard for him to when we have to talk about that, then it's really hard, and you can feel that it's really painful. So he tried to push that away and not talk about those subjects. I try to question him about that, and I try to question him about like how come he's not really talking about this kind of subject. But he's always like, no, it's like this, it's like that, but it's okay. It's not, it's not relevant, it's not important for my history, for you to understand why I'm like this. And for me, it's important, and I think for him too. So, like the other day, I was just thinking about like, okay, let's call Tio Nelson, my uncle, the brother of my father, and ask him question about the family. So I called him. He's a great guy, and he lives in Geneva, but we don't have a close relation. And so I was having coffee and asking him questions about the family, and because in this moment I'm really like trying to figure out what happened in Tegucigalpa with this United Fruit Company. You know, Chiquita Banana. And he told me like how they really like destroyed every little amount of hope of democracy of all these countries in the 20th century. And in Tegucigalpa, they were really like trying to elect democratic people, but at every moment of hope, the Americans were giving money and guns to a small amount of people, and they took the power and they installed a military dictatorship. And my grandfather was really like close to a president who was elected by the people and had to get away because of that, and they threatened to kill him if he wasn't like okay to cooperate. So they killed his uncle, the uncle of my grandfather, and they shot like his entire house, and they had to leave like the day after this incident. So all these stories, I'm learning it now, and I'm learning it like how huge the role of my grandfather was, because he was really like a militant and against the government, and really defending the rights of the workers in the fields. So this is one thing. The other thing is that actually I haven't been in Honduras, like never, because my family then moved to Costa Rica, and so I went a lot to Costa Rica when I was a child, once a year, but I've never been to Tegucigalpa. And I'm really wondering, should I go there? But I don't want to go there without purpose, without just to see the country. I don't know. When I was visiting my family in Costa Rica, it was sometimes kind of weird because they want to like do like the Americans do. So they have like American names, and they have American malls, and they have everything looks like the States. And so my family were a bit in this mindset. They wanted to look like Occidental people. So I had a glimpse of that Latino American culture, but it was not a fully experienced Latin America experience. Yeah, I had a bit like this sensation to be a tourist in this country, and I have the feeling that even my family wanted to be not Costa Rican. It's a shame. I watched the documentary the other day on the United Fruit Company, and all I've heard from Honduras is that it's a dangerous country, that there are a lot of gangs and mafia, and you don't want to go there. But then I watched a documentary on Tegucigalpa and reading all the people from different countries from South America saying that Honduran people are hard worker, charming people, like just fantastic, open-minded people, and that it's really sad what happened to this country. It makes me cry actually. So I'm carrying some kind of, I don't know, sadness in me regarding that. And I was always really sensitive about this subject, like before I even know that, yeah. So my father it's kind of weird because he's not trying to understand why I compose the music I compose, like where does it come from? And when I'm talking about him, like, okay, Dad, you realize that I'm composing this music for a reason. And he's like, yeah, he's just happy about it and proud, but he doesn't try to understand why I compose this music. And it's the same thing when I ask him questions about the story of my family. He's answering me, but he's not asking himself all these questions. I think my theory is because for him it's too painful to dig in these subjects. And for me it's not, because I wasn't the victim. I'm second generation. The title of an album I produced was called Our Folklore, and it's kind of the result of multiple tentations trying to understand where I come from. Is it Switzerland? Is it Germany? Is it Honduras? And I think the impossibility of having an answer to that leads me to accept that I have my own culture, my own folklore. And my own folklore is designed also by the sound of the band, by the music I create, the music we create all together. And this is really like my cultural identity at the end. It's not Swiss, it's not German, it's not Honduran. It's something else that doesn't have a name, and it's explained through music, and music for that is the best medium to explain this culture that doesn't have a name. So yeah, the song that represents best the concept is called Our Folklore. Clearly, it's one of my favorite songs in the album, because it came out really naturally, this song actually. When you're a musician, you compose a lot. Some themes are easier to compose and other are not. And some melodies come out naturally, like while you're under the shower or in your bed or walking the street, I don't know. And I remember clearly I was really, really sad one morning, and I took my guitar, and it's like really in a movie, I took my guitar and I started to sing a song, and it was like, I was like, oh, I'm sad, but this is beautiful, let's record it. So I took my iPhone and I recorded it. And well, the first take was perfect, and I almost prefer the take on my iPhone than the final version of the studio. because it was really like, okay, everything was there, like the structure, the melody, the mood, the feel. I mean, it was the good take, and it's really lovely. And I think it fits perfectly this concept of folklore, like navigating through melancholy, nostalgia, sadness, and also beautiful melodies, well harmonized, and talking about this continent I don't really know, but I really like imagine. It's like a fantasized myth of a country I only know by proxy. And I think this is what makes my music original and different. It's that I accept that, and I just I imagine how is it to be there, how the music sounds there, and I'm just painting it through my music with naivety. Yes. And I think what is really interesting here is that our folklore talks about where I see myself. So it could be on the name of this folklore is Luis Matute. Yes.
Thank you very much for listening to this episode. I invite you to like and subscribe at our website, hyphenated.eu, where you can find other episodes and discover more hyphenated artists. You'll also find a playlist of music in this episode, as well as links to more information about the artist. Please consider buying some of today's artist music or adding them to your streaming playlist. Or better yet, go see them play live. Hyphenated was created by me, Ron Deutsch, produced and edited by me. And if you'd like to support this series, please tell a friend. So until next time, be well.